Okay, these are the parts of the girder structure across the top of the bow bridge. And these are the parts we'll be using first to make this small structure. Construction of the bow bridge will require various glues and small tools. The glues I use is an Evo stick wood adhesive. I also use two types of super glue. One is a thick one, which is very similar to a wallpaper paste. The other one is very thin and is similar to water and a sharp knife. The two super glues I use I get from Toolstation. You're going to need quite a lot of it, so I suggest you buy the larger ones. Okay, normal health and safety, read the instructions on the glues. That's about it really. Sit back, watch the video, which we're now about to do, and there we go. The first item to construct, which is the easier item, is the girder construction, which goes across the top of the bow bridge and supports the top halves and stops them falling in on each other. So first four parts are going to need laid out in front. These are the 2mm thick ones, very, very straightforward. They'll only go together in one direction, in one way. So first of all, lay one down, lay the other one on top, and it will clip in quite nicely. Do the same with the other one. Just clip them down. To do this, obviously you need to do this on a flat board. So that's those first two laid down. Right, now we're going to add the cross struts. The items you're going to need now are the ones that look like this, which you'll need two with the ends shaped like that, and two with the ends shaped like that. It's fairly obvious that which one goes into which one. Having done that, we then load it into the slots. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 slots, and on this you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lugs. It's symmetrical each side, so it doesn't matter which way around it goes. Let me just drop those into there. And then we do exactly the same on the other one. Again, clip them together and drop them down into the slots. Next item is going to require are the short dumbbells, is what they look like. And there's 3 of those, and you'll need all 3. Again, they're symmetrical, doesn't matter which way they go in. 1, 2 lugs, and they go into the 2 holes there. So we drop that down into there. And do exactly the same with the second one. And we do exactly the same with the third one. So that's all those held nicely down there. Right, having now assembled those parts, we have to glue them into position. For this I use super glue, and I use the thin one. You just sort of go in and touch a little bit into each joint, into the corners where the 2 join. Just sort of do one section at a time. And just hold that section, push it down firmly. Make sure this piece here you tend to hold in the upright position. And then work your way along. Push down. And again, make sure this piece here is more or less upright. The other ones will be upright because they're pulled in against the middle piece. Give that a few seconds. and then repeat for the other side. Right, once you've done the other side, leave it for a couple of minutes for the super glue to dry off. The next part is then, so that's our sort of basic structure now. It's important you do this on a flat building base, otherwise it will end up looking like a banana. This one's nice and straight. That's okay. Right, we then have to load the next part onto the top. Now we do this in two separate halves, makes it much easier. Just drop it down on top. You may have to move it around a little bit at the bottom to make the slots all line up, but they will go. And then do the same with the other one. Again, making sure all the interlocks go into each other. Again, move it down, move it around a little bit. Maybe a bit tight in places. So that's nice and firm. So we then have to glue this side. So the best way to do this, again, is with a thin super glue. You'll also need some tissues to wipe off the excess glue. Or a glue roll. So keeping a little bit of pressure down on each of these joints here, just put a smear of super glue over each of the joints so it soaks down in. And keep the pressure there and just wipe off the excess glue. And just keep some pressure there, just for the glue to go off. And then we move on to the next one. So we do that on each of all the joints. Slide it into view so you can see it all. There we go. So just do that on each of all the little joints where the tongues stick up through. Right, I'll go ahead and do that, and when you come back, we'd have finished that part of it. Right, so I've just done that now. So I've done those joints there. Don't forget to do the middle ones as well where it pokes through. Right, once that's dry, turn it over, and then we repeat exactly the same on this side. Again, go through each one of those. Again, I'll show you how. A little bit of the thin super glue just over that joint. Let it soak in 3 or 4 seconds and wipe off the excess. This area will be covered up by some 1mm MDF, just as long as it's left smooth. Okay, so then do that for the 4 each side and the 6 going across. So if you'd like to do that, and when we come back, I'd have done that as well. So I've done that now. Right, now when we put this first together, the first 2 pieces we did, we actually put a fillet of glue, if you remember, down into each joint, there, there, and there. When we put the top on, we've only glued those surfaces. So now we need to sort of turn it over and round and get to the area down into that crevice, each one of those, and just put a spot of glue just so it soaks in into each location and into each corner. And then each corner on the other side. We turn it over, we do exactly the same on the other side. Right, and we then leave that to dry for about 5 to 10 minutes. While we're waiting for that to dry, we'll start to construct one of these single girders. There's 2 of these to build. They're both identical, so I'll just show you one being built and then you can follow the next. You can build the next one. Right, going to need 2 items. First like that, so they clip together. You need 2 of those with a slot each end, a little knob each end sticking out. And you're going to need 4 of these. Again, they're all identical. 1 slot each end and a little piece taken out the end. You're also going to need to do this a straight edge, such as a steel rule or a plastic rule. In my case, I've just got a piece of steel here, which I know is dead straight and flat. You'll be using that to line it all up, as well as having a flat baseboard. Right, first of all, flat edge down, and then using one with a notch and 1 hole, or 1 slot should I say, against straight edge. Then take 1 item which has got the 2 notches each end. That loads into it. And take another end which has got 1 slot, and you pull that tight against the steel edge. You take these 2 items, of which you clip together, and they slot down into the slots. Like we have there. So this is where it's important you have a straight edge. Right, okay, so we now have to run some glue. The light's not very good here, is it? How can I do this? That's when you can see it. Right, so we pull that away. So we have to run some super glue along the edge there, while pulling it tight against a steel rule. A nice easy way to do this is to have a second steel rule, which I'm looking for at the moment. Just go and get. Okay, I've just been away and got my second steel rule, which we can put the other side and pull together. So that's now holding that dead straight hammer on a flat surface. So then I'll probably get in with the super glue, just go in at each end where the tongues are, and just put up a small amount of the thin super glue, just so it soaks down in. And put a little bit where the join is. Don't worry about the join in the middle there for the moment. And just hold the rules close together while that goes off. Right, also go down the other side. Again, just a couple of little drops of the super glue. Holding it tight, making sure they're pushed down firmly into the slots. Again, wait for 2 to 3 minutes just for the super glue to soak in. Well, I've left that a bit of time, and now if we just slide the rules out of the way, we now have half a girder. So the next part now is to add the other half of the girder on top. So we're just putting back into our little jig. And we'll add the top pieces now. Again, we start off with 1 slot, 1 end. Load him on top. Middle piece with the 2 lugs each end and 2 slots. Load him on. And the other piece, which has got 1 slot and 1 little lug there. So we load him on. So that's the top end of our girder. And like before, we use the thin super glue and go into these 1, 2, 3, 4 areas. I'll just show you one. So just smear it in, let it soak in. This one's a little bit more delicate because they're small pieces, and just take off the excess. Again, this area will be covered up. Just keep a little bit of pressure down there. Make sure everything is still nice and straight. Pull the rules together, and this piece is at 90 degrees to the upright. And then do exactly the same on the other 1, 2, 3 positions. Right, come back, and I've done those other 4 locations. So we now have our girder, but we need now to put some along that edge which we missed because that was the last piece we put on. So again, just where each lug is, a little spot of super glue. Do the same on the other side. Sort of work it in a little bit. Turn them over. Hopefully this is coming out all right. Right, there we have our first girder. We do now exactly the same on this side as we did on there. If you remember, we added little bits of glue into those areas. Now we're going to do the same on this side. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just a little smear in there. Wipe off the excess. And do that on the other 3 locations. Right, so that now completes that one girder. So we now have to go away and make another one exactly the same, so we end up with 2, which I will now go away and do. So when we come back, we'll have 2 girders. Right, next section is, so I now have 2 girders, 1, 2. Next 2 parts, or 3 parts, you're going to need is the wider one of these. All right, there are quite a few that look the same, but you will need how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The one that's got 6 of these, you'll need 2, and the nameplate. Now you don't have to use the nameplate. What we do is we fit one across that join in there, and then on the other side, the other one of those goes there on the other side. Or you can fit instead the nameplate in there, which will be on display when you cross the bridge. So I'm building this one for myself. I'm going to fit the nameplate. So we lay down our girder section, again between 2 steel rules on a flat surface. And what we're going to do is we're going to stick this one halfway there. Only approximately. There are 11 holes, so you've got a row of middle holes, and as long as that lines up with roughly the middle section of where the cutout is, that's what we're interested in. So to do that, I'm going to do that with some thick super glue. So I just get the thick super glue, which I think is that one there, and put some thick in. You could of course use the wood adhesive if you want to for this one, it's up to you entirely. So I'm just going to put some thick glue on the back of here. I don't know if I'm in camera view. Whoops, you can get it everywhere else. Fairly important, this piece, because it does hold the girder structure together. That's going to drop off, I think, off my knife. So I'll do it by hand. So again, we're looking about halfway along and push him down. Nice and firm. Holding it down flat on the board, 2 rules pushed together so he's clamped nice and tight. That's good. So we then turn over, and on this side I'm going to add my nameplate. So again, I dropped it. Fingers and thumbs this morning. Oh, and again, this time it's gone on the floor. Oh dear. Right. Okay, back with you. So, super glue thick on the back. Smear it about a bit. Doesn't matter which way up it goes for the moment because we haven't fitted the girder. Again, we're looking for about halfway between the line and roughly line up the railway. Drop him in. And there we go. So that's the middle strengthened on that one. And then we do exactly the same on the other girder. Now I'm doing the second girder, but I've zoomed in a little bit so you can see a bit better what I'm doing here. So we take our normal riveted piece. I'm still dropping things. For goodness sake, which is going to go in the middle there. Again, super glue. Down the back, using the thick one. Looking for about halfway, not too critical. And pushing down while holding the steel rulers in tight, keeping everything nice and flat. Turn them over. And do exactly the same on this side. Super glue. Again, doesn't matter which way up. Again, about halfway. Drop him down in. Well, I've got a bit of super glue on the end there, wipe that off. There we go. Again, steel rulers pulled in tight. Right, that's that little bit done. Right, so the next task now is to take 4 of the thinner ones, which I'm holding in my hand, and where we're going to put those are on each of those, covering up that one, that joint, so that's better, isn't it? That joint, that joint, that joint, and that joint. Now to do this, I found the best way is to lock him in position there. Let's just go back and say the reason is that when we put this one on the end, it's important that it lines up with the notch. Not there, it's got to be in that position there, and that's quite important. So what we tend to do is to use another piece that we haven't used yet, lay that, I'll show you down on the board in a minute, up into there. As you can see, that's then straight. And then when we glue this piece on, we just slide it up against it. Now we'll do that down on the baseboard in a minute, you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So we put him down there. The other thing you'll need for this is a tin of beans, not because you're hungry, although it'd be quite nice at the moment. Other tins are available. We use this as a weight to go down the other end. You just sort of balance it there. I'm not going to move it around. Whoops, we're going to get too much. My bag of sugar is probably better, but I don't have any sugar here at the moment. Right, I'm now going to zoom in on the area that we're going to be working in. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to use the white PVA glue this time because it's a bit easier to use. It gives us a bit more moving time. So white PVA glue, hopefully some will come out. I'm going to smear onto the part. Don't want too much. Wipe off the excess. Then we use that as our reference piece, which we just plonk in there up against the edge. Then we drop in our small piece so it just touches. And then use our fingers to line it up down the sides. And just a little bit of pressure. Just wait for the glue to grab a bit. Double check that we're not overhanging. There may be better ways of doing this. This is the way I use. Just smear the excess glue off the side. My tin of beans is just fallen off, so a bag of sugar is obviously a better idea. And then any excess glue just remove from that area there. It's important that we don't have any glue there. Should be flush that side and flush that side. Again, a bit of a moist tissue, wipe off the excess. So there we go. So you do that for the other end, which I'll leave you to do. So when we come back, I'd have done that end. Right, so you come back and I've now done the other end. So all we've done now is that end and that end. We haven't done that side yet. So the next thing to do is to cover up these two joints here. Again, we use the same idea, same principle of this part. This time we line up that end, or it doesn't matter which end, with the end of the slot. So it's like that, and we just glue them down. And then we do exactly the same at the other end. So again, I use the PVA glue. You can use a proper spreader if you like to move it around. I get on quite well with my fingers. And we line it up with the end of the slot and using the fingers to line up with the sides. A bit of pressure on top. Again, keep checking that we're in line. Remove any excess that's squeezed out. Keeps it nice and neat and tidy. And as you can see, we've got a slight kink there, so pull that up. I'll pull that in nicely. Remove the excess glue. Just hold it tight there for a while. 10 or 15 seconds should be enough just to hold that in position. You could of course use a super glue for this, it's up to you entirely. There we we go, and turn them over and check the other side, which is also pulled in nice and tight. So we then move on to the next one. We do exactly the same. I'll show you again, bit of PVA and then drop him over. Or drop him, whichever may be the case. Line up again with the end of the slot and push him down gently. Wipe the excess glue off the sides. Keep a bit of pressure on there. Remove any excess. Check the sides, it's pulled in tightly, there's no kinks. And again, there's no kinks on that side. Right, put that aside to dry. While that's drying, we've only done one side, of course, we haven't done the other side yet. So while that's drying, we move on and we do exactly the same on 1, 2, 3, 4 locations. So when you come back, I'd have done that. Right, so come back and we've now done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've now got to do the other side in both of them. So you'll need the other 8 pieces, and it's exactly the same sequence as we did the other side. So if you'd like to go away and do that, when we come back, I'd have done it as well. Right, and you return, and we've now finished the little girders. So we've got 4 on each side, girder plate in the middle, and either a name tag or girder plate. 4 each side, girder in the middle, and again name plate each side. So that's those now finished. So we can then put those to one side. And we will now continue with this part which we made earlier. Right, for this part you will need the part we made earlier. That section, which has got 2 square holes, numbers 1 and 2 at one end. This one, square hole and a cutout with the numbers 1 and 2 at each end. These glue onto there and there, with the numbers showing. The numbers will be covered up at a later date. Now everything should fit together. Do a dry run first of all. You're looking for a snug fit all the way around, which you can feel with your fingers. It's good. So first thing to do is to fit double one onto that position there. Tend to do this again with the wood glue so we can move things around. So just go down let's put a little bit of blob of glue on. You can wipe any excess off afterwards. Oh, it's working right. Okay, back along there. And then just sort of spread it around a bit with your finger. Make sure that you've got the 1 and 2 showing so you can see it. Place it on. And you can move it around a little bit and feel with your fingers that it's flush all the way around. It's quite important. And gentle pressure. Squeeze out the excess glue. Continually feeling with your fingers that it's level all the way around. Visual check. And it can do with a steel rule. Just lay it down onto it. just gently push. That will line up the edge. Do the same on the other side. Again, gentle squeezing. And check that the end is level. You can still move it a little bit if need be. Even pressure. And the tissue, just wipe off the excess. And take it out. You don't want the excess glue sticking out anywhere. Just tidy it up a little bit. Just to get rid of the excess glue while it's still wet, otherwise it's like concrete. Right, when you're happy with that, we can now put the other piece on the other end with the big hole and the cutout, again with the numbers showing, 1 and 2 up. And that will drop in nicely there and be flush on the end. So that's the next one I'll now fit. Dab it around a bit, spread the glue out a bit. Again, making sure 1 and 2 is visible. Drop it on and slide it into position. Slide it up tight against the first piece we fitted. Should be flush at this end, which it is, and flush down the sides. A little bit of pressure all the way around. Again, as before, remove any excess glue, particularly around the ends, as we need to engage that into the cross hoops later on. Nice and level. Push down on our steel rule again. Remove the excess. Cut yourself. Ouch, that hurt. I'll just pause when I put a plaster on my finger. Knives are dangerous, as I've just found out. Right, back with you and complete the plaster now on my finger. Right, okay, so I could push that out a little bit, just a little bit there, not quite flush. That's better. Right, so that's quite nice all the way around. So then we repeat that on the other side. So turn it over and over. You get the other two pieces. Again, big hole 1 and 2. Little and big 1 and 2. Doesn't matter which end they go on. So we'll be gluing that one to there as we did before, and we'll be gluing that one to there as we did before. So I'll just go ahead and do that. So when you come back, I'd have glued those in position. Right, so we return with having fitted the two pieces on both sides, making sure that numbers 1 and 2 are visible. So The next part to fit now is the braces that go on each of those joinings there and there. So you'd have had 4 of these left. In fact, there's an extra 2 in the kit because I've used my nameplate instead. But if you didn't use the nameplate, which I'll just show you there, if you didn't use a nameplate but use one of those instead, then you won't have any left over. In fact, you'll have the nameplates left over. Right, so they go again about halfway, just slot into there. You'll find they're a nice fit. So again, this time I'm going to use a PVA glue. It's up to you which one you use. You could have used the super glue. Smear it on. And again, we're looking about halfway. But this time I'm going to go halfway on that line there, approximately. Not too crucial. And push him down firmly. Any excess glue, wipe away. Makes it look nice and neat. And check we're roughly in the middle, which we are. We turn over and we do exactly the same on this side. I'm not showing you putting the glue on. Oh, yeah, okay, and smear it on a little bit. Looking again about halfway. Dropping down in. It's about right, and push down firmly. Wipe away any excess glue. Right, and there's our bracing done each end. So the next task to do now is to put in the corner gussets. So there's 4 corners and there's 6 to go halfway along. So I'll just get those parts and we'll show you how to do that. Right, to do this you'll need 6 of these. Oh, it dropped it again. 6 of those. And you'll need 4 corners, which look like that. Now, written on the back is a number. There'll either be a number 1 written on the back, or a number 2 written on the back. So to do one side, you need 2 1s and 2 2s. They are different. So we'll just go down to one corner first of all, and we'll zoom in on there. In fact, we'll do number 2. Right, so find number 2. And we'll do a dummy run to make sure you've got the right one. So 2, 2, and that should be a nice fit on there, which it is. So we add a bit of glue. And then we position the corner gusset on. Use your fingers to move it around until it lines up with that edge and that edge. A little bit of pressure to squeeze out the excess glue. Clean the glue off the front there. And there's your first gusset done. And we repeat that for 1, and we repeat it 1 at that end and 2 at that end. So when you come back, I'd have done the 4 corners. Right, you come back and I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. Haven't done the other side yet. So the next task then is to actually put the halfway ones, as we'll call them. So we have to put one there, and one there. And it's self-obvious how they line up. And we do those in exactly the same way as we did the corner ones. I'll just do one for the moment so you can see what I'm doing. Let's get it into view. There we go. Right, so a bit of glue in the middle. And you'll see that there's a line there where the two pieces joined, and this blends in with that so you don't see the line. Just square it all up nicely. Again, best to use a PVA glue for this one so you can move it around a little bit, and that drops in there quite nicely. Gentle bit of pressure. Check we're in line on the back, could move a little bit. There we go, that's better. Right, so that's that one done. So now we have to do the other 5. So when you come back, I'd have done those 5. Right, you come back to me when I've done now all those sides. So I've now done the 4 corners and the 6 in between. So now all we have to do is turn it over and repeat the same process on the other side, which I will now do, and you go away and do that. So when you come back, hopefully you'd have finished it, and so will I. Right, you return with it now finished. So we now have all the gussets in, all done, and we've finished our beams. Some people have been asking what B&J Light Railway is in 1924. For those that are interested, B&J is Bill and Jerry. Bill was my father, and 1924 was the year he was born in. And it was him who got me into doing this sort of thing. So we called it the B&J Light Railway. Right, so having finished it, you should be left over with either 2 of those. That's if you've put a nameplate in. Or if you've put these in instead, you'll be left with 2 nameplates. Right, what you've now done is the construction process you've used is the general idea that's used on the whole of the bow bridge. So if you manage to do this, then you should have no problems doing the whole bridge complete, except on a much grander scale. So there we have it, and the next section will be moving on to the actual bridge itself.